Paint Kaladin and Shardplate using only 5 paints from the Kickstarter set. I went straight to base coating. Now this is something that you can do, but something to be aware of when you skip the primer phase of painting is that you'll have to do a lot of thin coats to really get that paint to stick. So as I started applying paint to the miniature, I noticed that it wasn't sticking very well. And I've seen some people talk about this on Discord, that the paint is not sticking to the miniature. It could be due to that you haven't washed the miniature yet, or that you haven't primed the miniature properly. So you see here that the paint is just kind of not sticking very well to Kaladin. And this is okay. What you're going to be doing is going through over and over again with base coat, thin layers, so that you can get paint all over the miniature. Here's the second base coat of Kaladin Blue. Here's the third base coat of Kaladin Blue. After each base coat, you just need to let it dry so you can come back and get a clean coat on each time. Here's base coat number 4. And base coat number 5. So it takes a lot of layers. Thin paint is better than thick paint. Base coat number 6 of Kaladin Blue. We're still going at it. Now we come to matte white, and you see here I'm really thinning down this white paint to make sure that it's nice and thin, so that as I apply it to the crevices of the model, it kind of soaks in there and gets into the details. Now you don't have to be very precise here. It's fine if you get on the edges of the details, the raised areas, because this will just add contrast and bring out the light underneath to the miniature. You can come in and do the faceplate areas for the eyes and the breathing sockets. Not sure what those are called. Again, feel free to be sloppy with this. You're trying to get a nice white base coat underneath where you want the glow to happen. You can even come back here to the back. I saw these little exhaust vents. I'm not sure what they're doing back here. I thought it'd be cool to add some flair on the back. Okay, so as we let that dry, I'm going to go around with strong tone, or if you have a blue wash or shade, feel free to use that here. Go over all the Kaladin Blue areas. Now we can come to the shard blade, and we'll do a shard blade silver, or should I say the sill spear. Make sure it's nice and thin so you can get all the details that come through. Okay, after you're done with that, you'll come over to Windrunner Blue and make sure you don't want a lot of paint on your paintbrush. You want to keep it nice and thin for this edge highlighting. And as you see here, I tend to take my time as I go in. You don't want to overdo it. You just want to catch the raised areas to bring out that detail. Something you can also do here is highlight his thigh plate, just to that raised area there, to add some contrast. In miniature painting, it's all about exaggerating the details. This is what edge highlighting does, is it exaggerates the details of the miniature. In real life, it wouldn't really look that stark. You wouldn't really have that bluish blue on there. But when it's on miniature scale, it really makes the details pop. So as I worked around the model, you're just catching those raised areas with your small paintbrush and bringing those details out. Remember, you have the Kaladin Blue layer. You just darkened it down with the strong tone, and now you're bringing other things out with this Windrunner Blue. Okay, so now what you do is a very thin coat of Windrunner Blue. You're just going to go over all that white area to give you that glow effect. Remember, the source of the glow needs to be white, and so what we're doing here is we're expanding out from that white. We're giving it a light Windrunner Blue tint. I came back to this with the strong tone on the Still Spear when you get a chance. Okay, so we're gonna water down the matte white and come back to the glyph and to the faceplate. We really want it watered down so we can get into the crevices. We can have that white soak in there because the details are so small that we need to let the watered down paint run into those crevices. Again, you don't have to be perfect here, but you want to be as close as you can to just getting into those fine details. Always go back. You can always water it down more. You can always add more thin layers. You do not want thick paint on this step, on any step in reality. You can already see that glow coming out as I add that white. So now we're going to mix matte white with Windrunner Blue, kind of have a really thin layer. And we're going to come in and try and catch the raised areas of the glyph. So there's a little middle dot. There's a kind of a triangle type thing going on there. There's a line down the center of the breastplate. You just want to get in and make those semi-blue so that the glow comes from inside the crevices. And then you can come around and go along the breastplate, kind of make it shining through on different angles. You'll notice that I did not paint the base on this miniature. In fact, I cut it off and put Kaladin on a custom base that I created from scratch. Subscribe now to see how I made the base for this miniature.